Eerst even een rakkertje. Oh, English. Shall we first open up a wrecker?
A wrecker?
A wrecker.
A gold brown wrecker?
Woo. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, let me introduce this shit first. Hold on. I gotta remove my phone and put my beer in the thing that's meant for it. Perfect. Okay. For the people at home, this is a podcast I thought of because I'm a brilliant man. It has been the first week of my vacation with this fucker right here. And I thought it's cool that whenever I have a guest, I just do a podcast at the end of it. Or somebody else or whatever. So it won't be that regular. But yeah.
Once a week?
Once a week if there's somebody else there.
Okay.
If there's nobody, then I won't do a podcast or whatever. Because I think it's interesting with somebody else to just talk about the experience or whatever we experience or other shit. So yeah, we have these fucking tiny mics. So if it's horrendous to listen to or whatever, so be it. Janik, I think it's more interesting to just first introduce yourself. Yeah.
Well, my name is Janik. I came with Bart on vacation. I am from the Netherlands and I am known for my Skipper's Phantom Chameleon speedrun. Is it going?
You can just continue. I'm checking this shit.
Yeah,
it's not your job.
And I also play some Lego Racers occasionally on YouTube. youtube.com/y80w43 and
oh yeah, and your YouTube name is Janik.
Yeah, my YouTube name is Janik.
Okay, so that's the plug. That's normally at the end of a podcast, but sure, you can just
no, it's the start.
No, not at my podcast. There are people coming.
There are lurkers.
Okay, there are lurkers
and
we have guests. Well, this is the downside.
It's Norway.
We're next to a road, so people can just park their car here like these two are doing. I think they're standing still right now. This is the interesting bit. Just so you know, we're in Norway right now. We just arrived. And in Norway, you can park wherever. And then just, same as Sweden. And just have your vacation spot.
Again.
So they just decided to not park here.
I think they saw us film and they're like, oh, we don't want to join this podcast, whatever.
Well, it's free. More than free to come. But I think it scares away that you just see a guy sitting here, dick out in a duck costume. But sure. Okay, let's just start at the beginning. We have been on the road for a week now.
Yes.
Only 7 days. Feels longer.
It feels way longer, but when you think about it, it doesn't feel like we did that much at all.
No.
Which is fun.
Thanks. It didn't.
I mean, we drove a lot.
We drove a lot, and we actually did quite a lot of stuff, and we experienced a lot of shit. So I think it's interesting to talk. What I'm gonna do is I grab my Polar Steps. For the people at home, if you're not following, you can follow me on Polar Steps. Another car. That's gonna be a thing that's gonna come by often. And there you can just track whatever I'm doing. So for me it has been 8 days, but for Janik it's 1 week. And I'm scrolling through the days right now. And I think we just started in Den Helder.
Yes.
It was like a nice starting off point of the podcast, and that's where we are.
I
think first of all it's funny, by the way, to tell them how we two know each other. Because that's mostly from League of Legends, right?
Yeah, we've met through League of Legends, some shared friends we have, and I think we've only started talking about 3 years ago, even though the friend that I know you from, we've known each other for 8 years probably now, Alex.
Okay.
And yeah,
that's it.
I think that's most of it.
And this is the second or third time meeting IRL. I think third?
I think it's probably the third. I've been on your birthday twice.
Yeah, and right now, and that's the stay at Chris's place. So that's 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times.
So we've seen each other for 4 times. So it was quite also a gamble. Maybe we hated each other from the get-go.
Yeah.
After staying more than a day together. Let's just talk. So I came in Den Helder. That's the one thing in English I always doubt. Like Den Helder, do I pronounce Den Helder in English or in Dutch?
Just Den Helder.
It's the same as I'm from Gouda.
Yeah.
But in Dutch is Gouda and every other language
I would just say Gouda.
Yeah, right? Just keeping it.
It's
Dutch.
a name.
It's a name. What's in a name? Yeah, but like...
We do say Alex instead of Alex. But we could say Alex, yeah.
It's the same as that. For example, my friend, which is called Michiel.
How
in
do you
English,
call
it's Mitchell or Michael. But I call him Michiel.
Yeah.
But like for other people, it's impossible to pronounce. But ignore that. Okay. So the first surprise for me came when we had to go to the shed of Brett.
Yeah.
To drink a lot of alcohol, which was fun. That's also like meeting other people that I've never met, but Besides that, did we do anything that interesting?
In Den Helder still?
No, I'm gonna just something super Dutch. I'm just gonna get going, hero. Well, that's hero in Dutch. When we left your place to go to the other place, the shed, however you want to call it, it's like the place where we went is like in the Netherlands. I don't know if it's more common in other areas as well, but you have like small gardens,
plots of land that you can essentially rent. Yeah, and then you can do on it whatever you want within the rules.
Yeah.
But you can build like a small shed or like a small garden house, I think they're called.
Yeah, most people use it, I think, as like either a getaway.
Yeah.
Or as like a garden where they have they have
where you can
vegetables.
Farm your own vegetables, fruits, whatever.
Okay, but we drove to that place, and the thing that I found hilarious is it was my first time in Den Helder. And on the way there, first of all, we saw a guy with klompen, which are the famous Dutch wooden shoes.
Clogs, yeah.
With like a thick as fuck stomach. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
he was quite built.
He was quite built. And with like you saw like the bottom of his belly underneath his shirt, that kind of body type. And then later on, we saw the grandma on the.
We only biked 100 meters further, and there
like,
was a grandma with a one-wheeler. Is that how you call it?
It's
a unicycle. Unicycle. That's it.
A one-wheeler.
A one-wheeler.
I'm a one-wheeler man.
So that was quite interesting. That was the introduction for Den Helder for Bart.
Mm-hmm. And after that, it was just a lot of drinking, meeting some people I've never met as well, Jan and Jesus.
Bradley?
No, not Bradley. Bradley I've seen before.
Jorik.
Jorik. See, I'm going to Jorik like the League of Legends champions, but it is Jorik. So yeah, that was day one. Not that super interesting. It was fun.
It was alright. It was fun. Good fun.
Yeah.
We slept really well, dude.
Well, you slept really well, I think. Oh, we slept late. Yeah, but we came home as well around 3 or something like that. It was pretty late. But so that was the first day, and the second day was instantly just driving. I think we can skip that one. That was just
we drove from Den Helder to Germany
to Haderschleff. I know that because I got Polish there.
Yeah, and then we went from Germany to Denmark.
Yeah.
And we just went to a camping there. We actually arrived pretty late, I think about 10 p.m. Mm-hmm. And then we just set up the van.
Yeah, well, we drove in and I was already scared because everything was empty. So there was nobody. The reception was completely dead silent.
Yeah, it was like a ghost town.
Yeah. So we came in and we're like, okay, how the fuck do we... And then instantly the owner of the place, I guess, came down. Oh, you can just park in the parking lot, just set up camp, and tomorrow you can pay at the reception.
Nicest guy.
Nicest guy ever. He is a true lad, man. I hope they cannot see my dick, actually. But I'm gonna...
No, they can't.
I don't know if they hear that. But that was Denmark. What's your opinion of Denmark? Like, you've not been a real like voyageur, well, that's French for traveler.
I think the best spot we've seen in Denmark was actually at that camping.
That's it. Well, just the seaside overall. Seasides are nice everywhere except for the Netherlands. Well, they also have their charm, but they're just sandy.
I think Denmark was alright. It's kind of Germany, but it's kind of Germany actually.
Yeah,
when you really think about
Germany. Southern Germany is really like hilly and foresty.
Yeah.
But like the northern part, it's just the Netherlands. Like, it's a little bit less flat than the Netherlands. Yeah. And besides that, it's one-on-one. Like, it's wavy, the Netherlands.
I think it was fine, but I wouldn't want to stay there for a full week for sure.
No, me neither. Well, it probably has places cool because we've just driven past it like super fast, just highway like. So then you do not have like the full experience. Because
we've been in Denmark for 2-3 days.
Oh yeah, of course. Because after that, that's also Denmark. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But we haven't been to like the northern part or like because I heard the left side of the seaside of Denmark is actually pretty interesting, but it's just it was so off route kind of. Yeah. Because then you have to skip the highway. Well, you can do it, but yeah.
It's probably a 5-hour detour if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, something like that, definitely. But that was the first day. Was just full on driving, and then after that, because you really wanted to go for some reason, Copenhagen. I'm not really a city person, but I will leave this.
I just like to see it because you always hear about the place, but you never actually see it. And then once you're there, you realize that it's kind of Amsterdam, except
Danish.
a bit, Danish and a lot less organized. It felt like, and it really felt. Maybe it was because we were there at a Sunday evening, but it didn't feel that bustling with life, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Felt kind of dead. But that was kind of cool to see. But Christiana was really interesting.
Yeah, so when first of all, a friend of mine, the same one I just pronounced his name, Michiel, he also recommended to go to Copenhagen and then especially Christiana. And then we also asked the reception lady. There are more people coming in. The reception lady. Yeah, taken. The reception lady again. And she also recommended us that place. Christiana and also another. The other one wasn't that interesting, but Christiana was really dope.
It was kind of like a side street with some bars, but because it was Sunday night, most of them were closed.
Yeah, so it wasn't that interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more? I mean, you know the same amount as I do about Christiana.
So it's basically a district that's declared themselves independent from, I think, the whole country, or just Copenhagen. I don't know. Either.
I think the country. It's just like it's called an independent state by themselves.
So they basically have their own rules there, and you can just buy weed on the street there, which is kind of strange.
Just tap on there.
Yeah,
instantly. So
yeah, because it's the first thing you see when you enter.
Okay, like I'm gonna build a little bit on the Christiana lore, and then I will let you continue with the weed stuff.
All right.
So the place was like, as far as I've heard from people, it's like a military state, kind of like a military place, and then it announced themselves. Just fact check me because I'm not sure. It announced itself independent, and right now it's lived in mostly like what the fuck we just googled sitters, people that go in houses, squatters. Yeah, people that go in houses which are empty, anarchists, people that hate the government overall, and a lot of super left people.
Yeah.
So the place is completely let go by the government as well. It's not that they just declared themselves independence and that they are like trying to be independent. It is a place where the police or Denmark itself doesn't come that often.
We have not seen a single police officer or any enforcer at all in the place.
Yeah. So that's a little bit like the atmosphere in Christiana. And the thing is, so there are no laws there except the laws they make themselves. So for example, you could piss everywhere you wanted to because the police wouldn't arrest you, but I don't think that people living there would agree. In case you're wondering, just Google it a little bit, I think. So you know what we're talking about, like visually. I think that's also interesting. Continue with your, what happened when we entered Christiana.
I wanted to add to that because it's a lot of like norms and whatever you think that someone would tolerate is kind of what you do, right? Like
because it is still the norm. You don't take a shit in the middle of the street. That's not happening there because there are other people. So there are like norms and waarden. There are standard way of behavior.
Yeah. And I think it was kind of interesting that you expect it to be really rough and like people to be, I don't know, kind of short on their feet. If
aggressive.
that's kind of aggressive. But it wasn't that at all. It was really calm actually.
Oh, okay. Let's like the first, I think 50 meters was a bit sketchy, to be honest, because when you come in there is a massive sign. That's the one big rule in Christiana is you're not allowed to take pictures inside of the district.
Yeah.
So and then everywhere you start seeing signs with cameras crossed through them, like don't take pictures from this point. Several people also warned us, the lady at the reception as well. So you're not allowed to take pictures. So when that sets in, that's a bit sketchy. And I think it's just the first, like it's a 20-meter stretch where there are just people selling weed behind, like stands made of barrels and wood.
Yeah, it's a really, it makes you feel really sketchy when you're there, and you start off feeling not as safe because you're not under like any government or anything, and you really feel that for some reason. And then once you're in, you see that people are just vibing, and there was a concert because it was Sunday night, and apparently there's a concert every Sunday night. So we were just really lucky. We fell with our nose in the butter, as you say in Dutch.
We fell with our nose. Oh, by the way, we forgot. It's also lived in by a lot of students.
Yeah, a lot of students. It was cool. It was really cool. It really felt like some kind of apocalypse movie.
I told you, like the one thing it feels like is like if there's an apocalypse movie, and the survivors have built their own village, this would be the kind of like as at least as it looked.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of old buildings, a lot of green, overgrown buildings as well, a lot of lights. Like it's literally as you like would imagine an apocalypse movie. Because everything was there. Everything is like old and rusty. There are containers.
I don't know. Sea containers.
Sea containers,
containers at all. Yeah.
Containers and everything like that. A lot of gravity as well. So it was just. It had its charm, and it didn't feel threatening after the 10 meters because the houses also were like cool. Everything you felt like it felt like there was a lot of freedom to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, and especially once you get off the place where the concert was, where it's like really busy, you can kind of walk around a lake or a river. What was it? I think it was kind of a lake.
Yeah, more lakey than a river.
Yeah. And there are a lot of like old houses there that you can just kind of look into. You're not allowed to enter them because it's still someone's house. I mean, you could do that, but you'd probably get kicked out.
There is still an owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you could do it, but there is an owner in the house.
Yeah, you kind of respect the place too.
You took a couple of pictures. Like some of them were like not like old buildings, but like dreamlike, like hobbit halls.
Yeah,
like
it was looking really strange. I actually described it as if someone has ever been to the Efteling.
Okay, that is like a super niche Dutch thing.
Yeah,
the Efteling is a park in the Netherlands where fairy tales come to life. So they have a place called the Fairy Tale Forest, and you can see fairy tales like Rapunzel. Snow White, that's one of them, and then you can see houses there and walk around. That vibe, you mean? But then,
but then just with people living there, it's really strange.
Yeah.
But also it added to the vibe because you couldn't you could enter them, but you just don't enter them, and you kind of look through the windows and see what's in there because you're still curious. And we saw a place with a microwave, so apparently they do have electricity. Yeah. Which is really strange to me because who sells them that electricity that they
somebody like
made contracts
well,
or
maybe
something
from the weed and they pay in black, but I don't know.
Probably it's really weird. But the thing that astonished me is that they had a separate place for kids to
play around
there.
Then it becomes kind of cultish.
Yeah, because
in my opinion.
There are actually just people living there all days there. Because we did see a few, like probably in their 60s, 70s, being there. And they probably have been there for then 30 years because I think it opened around the 80s probably.
Yeah, could 1971 if I'm. Don't mark me on that, but I think
the buildings really look like they were built around that time too. Yeah. Some of them,
yeah.
But it was a real cool experience. Everything was kind of gravitied up, but not in like your really ghetto kind of way. It was more like art than anything else. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. I think that was. If it didn't have that, Copenhagen was kind of boring, but it really added to the experience.
So people from Copenhagen that are listening in, try to convince us otherwise, and maybe we'll come back.
I think they'll tell us to.
And I also
be there
think
on
that
Saturday night
just in case, it was a Sunday night as well, and everything was closed down, so it wasn't like a that lived-in city. Mm-hmm. But the thing was, after we were planning maybe one day, staying there for 1 day or for 2 days, and after walking around, we didn't have the need or the feeling we needed to be there for another day.
Yeah,
I think the city wasn't shitty.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all.
It wasn't shitty at all. But like we had the feeling that we have seen most of what there was to see for a tourist.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
there wasn't anything new for us. We went into a souvenir shop and.
Well, that's the one thing I wanted to say as well because after this we're going out of Denmark, but. Can people tell us, please, what is like typical Danish? Because they try to sell us bike stuff, but bikes are, sorry, Danish people, but are copyrighted by the Netherlands.
Yeah.
As in, like, the Netherlands can buy bike shit or sell bike stuff, and then Denmark doesn't own it. Then there is apparently hot dogs, which that
was probably the one Danish thing that set itself apart is that there were hot dogs everywhere. And
yeah, but still, it's more like hot dogs
everywhere.
Are called hot dogs, so they're probably not from Denmark because then they would call it.
Yeah.
Because a hot dog is something American, right?
Yeah.
Or English, but I think American.
I don't actually know. It was so weird. It was such a.
So just to think, can people tell us what is Danish? Because we don't know. Well, salty licorice. Lego. Okay.
We did see Lego, and we did see a lot of like Lego branded stores. with clothing and stuff like that.
And the H&M had a what's it? Team up? No. Crossover.
Tracksuit. Oh, crossover.
With,
Crossover.
Yeah.
With Lego. That was kind of cool. I mean, Copenhagen was interesting for sure. It didn't strike us that we wanted to be there another day, though.
Yeah, that's it. The day after, and I'm gonna start with this, we drove to Sweden. But first of all, I wanted, because we found out that the gas canister I had didn't fit on the stove I had. So I needed to buy either new canisters or an extra stove. I decided to buy another stove because that way I'm just, whatever kind of canister I see, I can put my things on it. But we had to go to a store. Near the store there was a cross section. No, a crossroad.
Yeah, crossroad.
And there was a car, a Tesla, standing still in the middle of the crossroad. So he drove. The lights turned green. The Tesla drove ahead of me, and he just stopped in the middle of the crossroad. So
a really extra. I don't even know how to describe it. It was a purple Tesla with like a metallic finish, and it had a really weird number plate too.
Yeah. So what that's later on. So when he was standing still, I'm higher up because I have a fan. So there was no car coming. So I honked, as in like you can go. Either that or it's like come on drive. But that's the opinion you get. But what the car did, the guy turned off his car, opened his car door, came out. So this was my first actual road rage. He stepped out of the vehicle. I'm gonna check
in the middle of the road, by the way.
Hold on. Hello? Yeah, okay. I'm just checking the battery. In the middle of the road, so in the middle of the crossway, he stepped out, came to my car, started screaming in Danish against my windows.
Yeah.
As his manner, I screamed back in Dutch to him. At a certain point, he screamed. I still find it fun. I know it was later on. Like the, fuck you.
Fuck you.
But he started screaming in my car, and then at a certain point, he was like, okay, wait, I'm still standing in the middle of a crossroad. So he went back to his car, drove to the exit, the roadside, just the exit or the roadside, and he parked his car on the sideway, opened his door, and stood in the middle of the road. My light was already turned red, so other cars had to go like past him, kind of, while he was standing in the middle of the road.
Everyone knew that he was at fault because
waiting for us. So we drove to him. He wanted us to stop. Of course, we didn't stop. We just passed him. That was when he screamed out, "Fuck you!"
Yeah, he did. He wanted us to come out, but why would we come out if he's the one at fault?
Well, so like it would have been fun, but like but it wouldn't have had any point.
It would have made a nice video, but it was such a strange situation that I didn't even think of filming it at all. Yeah,
but that's beside it. So after that, what he did was the Tesla guy drove in front of us and wanted to brake check us, but he didn't succeed, because at least I think that's the reason why I didn't succeed, because the Tesla wouldn't agree with braking completely in front of another car. So he would brake and then just go forward again. I think he tried it twice or thrice, and then he just
he stopped.
He stopped and was like, okay, fuck it. So we drove past him and he wanted us to quit again, but whatever. I think that's... Oh no.
The fun part is that the Tesla dealer itself was around the corner.
Yeah, so we think he rented the car. Yeah. It was not his car. So the thing is, he rented the car. He was annoyed by whatever thing the car did, I think, like the automatic stuff Tesla does. Yeah. And he was super, super, super annoyed by that. And then I just honked him over the edge. I think that's it.
And we do have that on cam.
Well, that's when we came out of the store. We drove past him and we saw him. It was also just an asshole. So we saw him screaming to one of the employees at the car dealer. So one of the employees of Tesla just had a shit day. We drove by, and then we went off into the sunset to Sweden.
I don't even think he was renting the car. I think he was going for a test drive to maybe buy it.
Sorry, I said rent, but I meant like a test drive. So.
Yeah.
So that was Denmark for you.
That
Road
really,
rage,
really
Copenhagen, cool. And beachside. That's the TLDR of Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Copenhagen, Denmark. After that, I want to compliment Denmark on the bridges we drove through. By the way, they were massive, enormous,
they were cool.
And pretty. Yeah. Only too bad that you have to pay like 35 and again 35, like around $100 to just cross two bridges.
Yeah, that's true. And the people were really nice. The ones that we spoke to,
Yeah.
except for the Tesla guy, but we still meme that guy today.
Yeah, that's just every Tesla that's following us is the Tesla guy. When we arrived in Sweden on polar steps, I called it road rage and swimming. I think that's mostly Denmark. Then we went into Sweden. And first stop was at the lake, the first big lake we saw, which is near Malmo, which is also where the LEC finals are happening, but I'm not going there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
That was the one where we were standing beside the small ramp up to the lake. That one, right?
No. The big one with a lot of people at it, like the big parking lot.
Oh.
Like the first one.
Yeah.
Like a bit too many people were there, where we eventually also moved places because of the amount of flies that were just sitting on our leg while we were trying to read.
Everything is just blending together.
Okay, I'm gonna show you the pictures then. Like with those trees. Yeah. What else do I have? It rained the whole day. We sat inside for a lot of it.
Yeah. I remember now. Yeah.
For the people at home that want to see the pictures.
Polar steps.
Bart van Bemmelen.
Yeah, that one was really close to the border. I think we didn't drive that long after we crossed the border.
It's actually like, look, I was surprised. Like this is where we stand up.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty landing.
We drove past Malmo, but we were. I don't know. It
was a short ride. It was like 1.5 hours or 2 hours of drive.
Yeah.
After Copenhagen, but that was because I was done driving.
Yeah.
Because it was like 9 hours drive the first day and then 4 or 5 hours the second day.
And the bridge was really busy, so we were in a
Stau.
In a stow.
In a traffic jam. Yeah. So I wasn't feeling like driving, so we drove for 1.5 hours to a lake, and we just chilled there.
Yeah, we stayed on the beach for a while, and then we swam. It was kind of nice.
It was, yeah.
There were a lot of insects there though, and it started raining in the morning.
Yeah, and in the evening as well.
And in the evening as well, yeah.
But it was actually like perfectly timed, because after we were done making pannenkoekers, aka pancakes, Caribbean style. We had Caribbean style is with coconut and banana inside of them. And it was just a packaging we bought from Lidl. But right after we were done cooking them, you said, I don't need any more pancakes. Right after that, it just started pouring and pouring and pouring. But we played some chess, read some books inside of the van.
Yeah.
And it will probably also rain somewhere in Norway. So we also have to.
It will.
Yeah. That's that day. We went to bed, woke up, and then we had the thing I called it strandwandeling, which means beach walk in Dutch. Can you talk a little bit about that day, if you want to, of course?
I'm gonna think about it. Let me see a picture for a second.
With the big rock.
Yeah, so we went to...
Your brain is just cooked as fuck.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where did we go, actually?
But it's like, we had some rain, but it's generally pretty hot, too.
Is Jenny coming in? I'm playing Overwatch.
No, so we went to this... I'd say it kind of looked like a French beach...
Why French? Just
because
Normandy. You said Normandy.
Yeah, I've been to Normandy, and it looked kind of close to that, but
it's just a really rocky
beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were bunkers too, so that's why it also reminded me of Normandy, because of the bunker.
So Nazis equal Normandy.
I'm not saying that. It's probably part of the Atlantic Wall, as they call it.
Probably.
But yeah, we went there for a walk. We climbed, well, you can barely call it climb, but we sort of climbed this big boulder that was next to the sea, and that was really nice. I think it was one of the nicer places that we've seen visually in Sweden. Yeah,
I think the driving through the lakey part was also nice.
Yeah, that was good too.
But it's like visually, I think I agree that the beach side was by far the best one. But it also was the only nature reservoir thingy we went into.
Yeah. Well, we've been there for an hour probably, and then we refilled our water.
I think a little bit more. I think 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah. It just surprises me every time that there are such clean toilets everywhere, and just Free water everywhere too.
Well, that's just like in the Netherlands. A lot of people actually like. When we stayed in the Netherlands, I went camping with some Bulgarian people, and in Bulgaria it's also allowed to just camp everywhere. But the thing is, they found weird that it's not legal to do it. That's completely beside the point, actually. But like, that's also weird for some people.
Yeah.
And I just think that like the Swedish people probably are like, okay, so either we put toilets everywhere or we have shit everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the choice is super simple. Like just put a toilet there. And I think also the people cleaning it and whatever are just are in their pension and are just glad to do something.
Yeah, it's not like the toilets themselves that surprised me. It's that it actually gets cleaned, because we woke up this morning, and we'll get to that, but we woke up this morning and the bin had actually been emptied.
Yeah,
which was really strange. A big bin.
For you. You just thought it just kept filling up.
Yeah.
But I agree. I was surprised as well that it was actually just because it wasn't like full yet.
Yeah.
It was just like halfway or something, and it was cleared, which was weird.
Yeah, we didn't hear any garbage truck or anything. I don't even think that a garbage truck could make that hill. So.
No, me neither.
So that was cool, and that's something that surprised me about Sweden too. Yeah.
Sometimes this cottage Janik just come up there. Let's go. I'm thinking with my brain, the beach side was it was nice. Oh, after that we had the one you meant. So the day was actually pretty weird because we woke up, went to the beach side, and after the beach side we went to another place, another lake. Because my logic always is like, I prefer to be semi-clean when I'm traveling, and I think it's more comfortable to sometimes take a dive.
Yeah.
Because right now I also feel more clean than I felt this morning.
Yeah.
So I always drive from lake to lake. So we went from a lake to the beach side, and from the beach side we drove to the lake the same day. So actually that day we drove a shit ton.
Yeah.
But because we just moved from A to B and we had stops in the middle, it didn't feel that long. But we went to the lake, and I think that's so far. Besides this, I think this is kind of equal. The best spot we stayed at. I think that one was better.
I think that one was better because the water was nicer, but the weather was worse.
The water here is nice, but it's just muddy as shit.
It's really muddy.
It looks maybe super cool on the camera, but
once you dive in, it's just a brown cloud of mud.
Yeah. Okay, but back to the lakeside.
That one was really nice, and someone left some wood in.
Yeah. Well, I've seen that more often actually in Sweden. I think somebody just drives around and drops pieces of wood there so you don't destroy the nature.
Yeah, that could be too. It was.
I think the guy that did that, sorry for interrupting, but the guy that did it, the truck we saw, which stopped with the green, which was Nature Happenpop, they put in the wood.
Oh, that's
because the first time we drove by, it wasn't there. That was why I was thinking. So we parked the car somewhere. We had a decent spot. Janik wanted to look further out. We looked further out. There was nothing. When we came back, we parked the car back, and at a certain point we moved it slightly to another place so we could go into the water with the van near us. But at that point there was like a small stoned off place with just perfectly dry chopped wood. Well, it had rained the whole day, and there was
ones
another
that you
car
buy in the store, like
just
it was
perfectly
really
cut wood.
really nice, yeah. And then someone left it there, and we asked the neighbors because we maybe thought that it was theirs, but it wasn't.
The neighbors,
yeah.
The one-day neighbors.
The one-day neighbors. And she said that it wasn't there, so we just used it. And then we were like a few meters away from the lake, and it was just a really good spot. Nice lake, just bad weather. Although we still had a dive.
Yeah, we had a dive, and the weather wasn't. In the morning it was.
In the morning it was bad. Yeah.
But in the whole evening was perfectly fine.
Yeah, but it's
just
still
the
kinda
downside
cold.
because the morning was okay. So the morning was actually like pretty hectic in my opinion. Well, not in a bad way, but there a lot of shit happened. I'm gonna burp. Oh, and there's another guy checking up. We're gonna wave. So it's just
Everyone is
they
just waving
see
back.
us having like a podcast, and they say, "What the fuck?" I said, "They're stopping, they're looking," and then they're like,
Let's not interrupt.
just continue.
Yeah.
Wait, my brain just stopped for a moment.
We were at the lake, and then we woke up the next morning.
So the next morning we woke up, and we decided already the day before that we would clean the car a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, in my head when I left, I put everything in order with my brain thinking like, okay, if I'm in the car, this is comfortable. Janie comes in, and are just things that are different than I'm
And
planning.
more food in general too. Like
More food in general.
Stuff didn't fit in the place that they were supposed to be in.
Yeah, so it sounds super cringy, but we made, for example, the bathroom, we call it, which is the place where we keep our toothbrushes, deodorant, my
Yeah, it's
lenses.
just one shelf with
Yeah,
stuff.
it's now one bigger shelf. First it was a shared shelf. We put a leisure shelf, so stuff that's just for
A
fun.
puzzle book, some books in general, and then whatever.
So we just put everything a little bit different. But to do that, we changed the. Can you cover? Yeah, thank you. We changed. We put the sleeping bags and the pillows in front, and when we sleep, I'll leave open the window a little bit. But when it started raining, everything inside was moist as all hell. So my pillow was wet, my sleeping bag was wet, and the one thing you don't want when traveling is wet stuff. So we were super blessed. Praise the Lord. Shout out to Mama Janik. No, we were super happy that the weather was actually like a little bit like this. So everything was dry the same day. But otherwise we would have been not super fucked, but I had to sleep without pillow, without sleeping. I have an extra, so that's not that bad. But we just would have a lot of wet stuff, which is the one thing you don't want while traveling.
It's gonna stink too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was super cool. And also at the same lake before we left, where we actually cleaned out the car, the day before we actually met some Dutch people that actually moved to Sweden. And
that was also random as hell.
Yeah, that was super random. There was this guy putting up in his car, and then the kid who was sitting in the back actually asked us if we spoke
something Swedish.
Yeah, if we spoke Swedish. That's what he asked.
Swedish.
Yeah, in Swedish. But they knew that we were Dutch because of our number plate. So then the kid actually said, no, we actually speak Dutch. And then we had a whole conversation. And then
it was not really like a conversation. It was super weird because they were just screaming out of the car. I couldn't hear the dad well. I couldn't hear the other kid because apparently there were two kids.
Yeah, there were two kids.
And the mom was like,
we didn't even see the mom.
It was a little bit weird.
It was weird, and the dad actually wanted to pull the car over and actually have a seat, probably, or just talk for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the mom probably said like, no, we're not gonna talk with these strangers. And then
they just we had his super short. We offered him a beer, a Hertog Jan
from home, and he didn't want it.
Yeah, so that it was already -1 for us because beer is a little bit more expensive here.
But imagine if you drove up to people yeah, no, don't make fun of me. Imagine if you drove up to people that you know from your country, and then they offer you a beer
from your home country.
A Hertog Jan, and even if you don't drink beer, you still accept it because it's a nice gift.
It's just it's like, here you go,
the
man.
Gesture.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like the gesture is just being nice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was weird. And then the kid said like, oh, we're like cattle farmers from nearby, farmers, and we moved here 1.5 years ago. And
how good is your Swedish? Yeah, we don't speak it. Like
yeah. It's such a weird experience, but it was kind of cool. He just should have accepted the Hertog Jan, and he should have pulled over and had a longer conversation than 5 minutes from.
The wind stopped if you wanna.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was just
covering it still.
Yeah.
So that's that. Oh, snake story. So.
Oh, the snake story. Yeah. So that was the story with the car, and then.
Yeah. So before we left, your boy here had to take a massive dump. Like I was full to the brim. But as you do in nature, is you look for a cool spot to take a dump. So I found a log where I could sit, and then my butthole was like over the log, so my shit will fall at, you know what I mean? Like behind the log. I was sitting on the log. I put a piece of toilet paper on top of the log because it was still a little bit moist, so my legs would stay dry. So I was perfectly positioned to take nature's dump.
Mm-hmm.
At the point I wanted to start shitting, so like the turd was halfway out, a snake crawled up, like right next to me, over the log, like this, which kind of jump scared me. And then he went into his cave. So I was already, like from the jump scare, I was standing up. And at the moment, I think that's the funniest bit. So the snake went back into his house, cave or nest. Yeah. And at the moment, I stood up, and I wanted to go back again in sitting position. And at that point, the head of my dick went like underneath my... So your trousers are like here. So I'm just gonna like...
Your
what's it?
briefs
Thigh
or
height.
your
Yeah.
boxers? Yeah.
Yeah, your boxers and your trousers.
Okay,
I
both
don't-
of them.
I don't completely remove my trousers when I'm shitting.
Okay.
So maybe you do, but...
I do sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. Well, that's a story for... That's a whole nother story, eh? So you want to hear the story. Too bad. I'm going to tell it anyway. That's Borderlands.
Uh-huh.
So my shorts were halfway my upper legs. And when I wanted to sit down and squat, the head of my penis went underneath my pants. And I saw my, like... because it was cold, so my shriveled up head came out of the bottom of my pants. And this jump scared me like to bejesus. Because I actually thought it was like another snake crawling up, ready to destroy me. But yeah.
Just baffles me.
It was,
He thought that his own penis was a snake.
if you would be in the same position, you probably also would think like, okay, I got.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably would be... I think my reaction would be different, however.
What would you do? What the fuck would you do? Tell me.
I would probably just instantly look instead of... Yeah, I would probably look where the snake would go and then
Yeah, so
check
the
for other
snake went-
snakes.
Yeah. So I did that, and then you take a shit again, and then you
Yeah.
see something, because it wasn't in my brain. It wasn't like, I know my dick's massive, but I wasn't expecting to
Yeah.
be like lengthy underneath the
Uh-huh.
pants. Like,
Yeah.
that's a joke, by the
It's-
way.
It's really, really, really weird.
Okay, yeah, but that was the hey.
The thing was, he
the
was
head of-
gone too. He was gone for like 10 minutes probably. And I was like, did he slip?
Did he slip?
Should I
Did
check
he
him?
fall? Yeah. But so I think that's just the head of my penis is a snake story.
Yeah.
We had something else that day, but
The old timer.
no, we saw a shit ton of animal. Old timer. Oh,
Yeah,
old
the
guy.
yellow old timer.
That's just, they were Dutch guys in an old timer, a Dutch old timer. So they went from the Netherlands in an old timer all the way to Sweden, which is daring, one might say.
Yeah, and we saw them on the highway or the motorway, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and then I think they just followed us actually, because they went to the
Yeah,
exact same space we went.
but they were ahead of us at first.
Yeah, they had the highest as fast as fuck.
Yeah, but it was just funny because we were making fun of him, like, oh, look at them being daring, and then we were in the forest, and then we actually saw them again, and we were like, what?
We didn't talk to them.
No, we didn't.
They stayed away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's that day. And that day we also saw, and that's why I'm remembering like a lot of animals. We also, then we went to Gothenburg.
Yeah.
So that day we also saw, so we went to Gothenburg. Which Gothenburg, maybe it's because we were there shorter as well, but it felt a little bit more interesting than Copenhagen.
Yeah, it did, for sure.
Yeah, a
It
little bit
it
more.
felt more like a foreign city
I think
than...
just, okay, I'm just going to be honest. I think that's because in Copenhagen, it was just silent as fuck everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the Sunday vibe.
Yeah.
In Copenhagen, Gothenburg, there were just a lot of, so it was more lively.
Yeah.
And it also helped that the park there, like, is lengthy and just going through the whole city next to the lake. So, the canal. So I think that helped a lot. But besides the point, we went to your botanic garden. I
Yeah.
asked Janie, do you want to go to Gothenburg? And he
I just Googled something.
zoomed into Gothenburg and he saw a botanic garden. Oh, that sounds cool, Bart.
It sounds cool because I've
No,
been
it
to the
doesn't.
botanical garden in Leiden, the one that's run by students, and that one is really cool.
Is
It has its own butterfly park, which is kind of like a huge glass building with butterflies and all sorts of like exotic plants in it. So I kind of expected that, but I think I don't know. We just got spoiled in the Netherlands. We just got spoiled in the Netherlands with all the cool stuff.
I've
that we
never
have.
been to a botanical garden.
Okay, no, but that was really cool. So I was like, oh, we should probably check that out because it had 4.7 stars on Google.
Ooh,
So
remember that. Is
we
another car
went
coming
there.
by? Is he gonna? Why do they all have green
Number plates.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
I'm gonna Google that after.
Yeah. But yeah, so we went to the botanical garden
Which was a
and we went
massive
to
letdown.
Bambulunden,
Bambulunda. Bambulunda.
and it seemed disappointing at first.
No, okay, let's just hold on. It was disappointing.
It was a little disappointing, but it seemed massively disappointing at first when we came in, and then
Yeah.
we had a bit of a walk around,
and we were
and
still
it started
disappointed.
getting more colorful.
I
too.
disagree. It wasn't.
It
Yeah,
started to get more colorful.
More colorful, but it doesn't mean good.
No,
Like
yeah,
the herb garden was just Like you ran down. That was just.
Yeah.
It was just a ran down. Please. Yeah. No.
Yeah, that one was bad.
It was just.
But other than that,
placed.
there was a restaurant.
Yeah.
And that one was.
That was the
quite
only
filled
cool
up
place.
with plants.
Okay,
and
well,
stuff.
yeah, but okay. So the way to the restaurant was maybe the most interesting, but the most interesting of something not interesting isn't interesting.
Yeah.
And then the restaurant, we got coffee, and it already was preheated
Instant
coffee.
coffee.
Yeah, so it wasn't like that good of a coffee as well. But the one thing that saved it is as soon as we sat down, and I put down the GoPro for a cool shot. At least I thought it was a cool shot. A squirrel just zimmed up the table and was checking around, and also took like a
Bit of a
of the
sniff.
coffee.
Yeah.
He was like, Kevin, do you got some Nocco there? Shout out Nocco.
Shout out Nokke.
So yeah, that's the one thing that saved it. But besides that, we got some
it was a
cool-
letdown. It was a
Yeah.
letdown.
Like the city was better than the botanical garden, and you
Yeah,
also had to go
so
way out of the city center to go to the
I-
botanical garden.
I didn't mind walking all the way there. I can't say that I did mind walking all the way back to it, but
You don't mind walking all the way back, eh? Your
I mean,
Scottish accent.
we should have just taken the bus back, I think.
Hij filmt weer.
Is dat
Ja,
hier
ja.
goed?
Hello? Are you back?
Hello?
Hello? Excuse us. It fell out right after he said he wanted to go with the bus.
It fell out.
It fell out. That means the battery quit on us. I think it's working now. So we right now have just applied an extra battery on the side.
And you know exactly where it stopped.
Yeah.
Not too far from where
so you
we
said
were.
I preferred I wanted to go with the van. Or no, with the van, with the
bus. I think that would have been
And
nicer.
then I said, really? And then you said, yes. And then I said, I think just the way to it was boring. And then you said, yes. Because
Yeah, that was true.
We went with the park. But it's not that interesting of a story. After that, we saw reindeers. Whoa.
Whoa.
Let's do the
So
same conversation again.
we drove after we went there, and I think the parking ticket was until 7 p.m. And then we left there at like 7:30, and we drove for quite a bit to find a nice spot to stay the night. And we saw some reindeers, and we.
If you continue the story, I'm going to take a piss in the background.
Okay, sure. So we saw some reindeers, and there was a car that was signing us, and I thought that was really cool because locals apparently do that where they put out their warning lights, as they are called, probably, and then he put the light to. You're actually pissing here. All right. And then he signed to the right with the warning lights, right warning lights, and we actually saw some reindeers. So he was warning us for potential danger, and that was really cool. So we got to see them, and then later that night, I think half an hour later, we saw another 2-3 of them, which was really cool. And then we actually slept, and we slept really nice again. Or I did
where
at
did
least.
we
I don't know how you
sleep?
slept, but
No, we didn't sleep nice. Because we slept at 12
oh, that was that night. Oh my god, yeah.
on
Okay,
the
go
side
ahead.
of the road. So we parked our van. Me, simple-minded fucker. So we had parked our cars like literally next
Next to a toilet.
to it. Well, not the toilet, but a piece of grass was there, and it was like on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It's like if you're on the highway, normally on the right side and on the left side, you sometimes have those places where you just can park your car for a little bit,
Yeah.
take a break,
A
after,
resting spot.
Yeah, a spot like that with one toilet. So we parked it on the piece of grass which was there, and I think it was. So we went to sleep, and we already saw some sketchy people around kissing.
Yeah, there were some
making
people
out.
making out at the side of the road
Yeah, we were just
next to
driving
the car. And then
their car, not our car.
Yeah, not
their
our car, their car. And we prepared for going to bed, so we brushed our teeth, went to the toilet, everything, and then they were still making out like half an hour later.
Yeah. So
Strange.
I mean, maybe they were really good kissers. Yeah. So we went to bed, and I'm a pretty light sleeper. You're that's because you put in your earpods.
Yeah,
but
I have
that's
some
for later.
earplugs.
So he sleeps pretty tight. I sleep really, really light. If I hear a car or anything moving around the van, I'm awake, like pretty fast. I'm kind of that guy, you know, really like aware, protective of.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm a cutie. No, so I sleep really light. What happened was at a certain point, a car pulled up.
Quarter for 1.
Quarter for 1, around 1, yeah, a.m. not p.m. So they pulled up, and I was already like slightly awake. You were also pretty awake, or you said you didn't sleep at all, which I found curious. But maybe you were just in and out of sleep.
Yeah, I was in and out of sleep.
So that was already weird. The car doors went open, which is fine because sometimes people just like us can find a spot and they just at a certain point we're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna park here, which is okay. But then a flashlight started to shine. Started to shine into the windows, which was weird into our side window of our van. We have it covered so you cannot see us laying there. And then somebody knocked on the side door of the van.
Yeah.
Which is like horror, in my opinion. It's horror situation 1. If you think back of it, at that point
it was
you're
pretty
just sleeping
spooky.
at it, so it's weird. But it is spooky as all hell because you're not expecting. That's like the scariest situation. Somebody while you're sleeping on the side of your van just opening it, for example.
Yeah.
So then knocking on the door, I was awake, so I opened up like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I first opened the thingy, and then I saw it were 2 officers, so 2 policemen. And that's like the end of the story on it, because they just said like, yo, hello, do you want to put your car in somewhere else? You're not allowed to park on the grass.
Not even like that. They were just like, you're not allowed to park on grass. You can put your car anywhere else. It's fine. And if you want to stay the night somewhere close, we can show you a nicer camping spot.
It was like, if you want to stay in this area for longer,
Yeah.
we know a camping where you can go.
Yeah.
Like, because apparently it's like some people like to fish there, because the people that were around us with tents were fishers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so he was like, if you want to stay here for longer in this area, I know a camping you can go to, and otherwise, can you just park it over there? So I was saying, no, we're just here for the night, so thanks for telling us. And even before we like replaced the car, they already were gone.
Yeah.
So apparently we were like nicely looking and trustworthy, because
Apparently, yeah.
so that's it. In the middle of the night, I just moved the car, but after that, I didn't sleep at all. It was my night was gone. Also woke up super early actually. So I think that's the one night where I slept shorter than you. Most of the times you're awake already, and then I get up.
Yeah.
So we woke up pretty early, but left pretty late, because apparently we're actually parked at a pretty decent spot where you just walk down and we're sitting next to like the river.
Yeah, it couldn't have been earlier than 8:30, because that's the earliest I've woken up ever since we left.
Yeah. And that day it wasn't also that lengthy. We went to IKEA in Sweden, which wasn't that impressive.
It was just an IKEA.
Whoa, who would have thought that? So yeah, and then today is today. So we went to Norway. TLDR of Sweden. Sweden is Denmark, but more mountainy and more trees, foresty. And I think that the northern part where we were the last bit was way better than.
Yeah, it was. Nicer scenery.
Yeah.
And the trees look darker here, as you say.
Yeah, it is, right? It's more dark green. Like,
Yeah.
it looks more healthy.
Yeah.
So, and it's a lot more hilly, I think. Let's check. We're going for 45 plus 7. We're 50 minutes. So then I'm going to just go and question you with some things what I think is interesting. First of all, because you're not like that much of a camper, how is the experience of just traveling around in a van?
It's nice. It's hard to get, well, it's not hard, but I'm surely needing to get used to it a little bit. I did camp as a kid / teenager a bit, but most stuff was just there anyway. Like, I didn't have to do my own grocery shopping, I mean. And it's a bit, it's nice. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, are the things you're like, what's the most annoying thing of it so far? Yeah.
I'm thinking.
You're thinking. Well, I gotta fill the time because the void is non-existent in the rule of a podcast.
Oh my god. You're kind of surprising me with these questions.
Yeah, but that's important. 'Cause I'm gonna ask the same ones after the next week.
I think the hardest bit is you're together for a full week, and it's kind of hard to keep it's not hard to keep conversation, but sometimes we're kind of out of.
Yeah, but do you see that as a bad thing or not?
No, I don't see it as a bad thing, but it's.
Do you feel forced to
No,
keep
I
on a
don't feel
conversation?
forced at all, but it's, I don't know, you're trying to have a nice time together too, right? So
you would have if you would have a perfect world, you would just talk nonstop.
no, I wouldn't, but I don't know, sometimes I don't know, it's kind of hard to come up with something, I guess.
And what are the points that you feel like that? Are those in the car or at the camping spots or?
I honestly think it's been kind of a smooth ride so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not complaining at all.
Wet stuff, the worst. When stuff gets wet.
No, but I
you need
mean
to
like
dry it.
the moments when that you have the feeling that you need to have a conversation. When are those? In the car driving? Are those
yeah, I
at
think
the
in the car
camping?
driving.
Yeah?
Rather than when doing something.
Okay. So those are the moments when you feel like, okay, now I need to have a conversation, kind of.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because the thing is, that's like, it's not that weird because most people I've been in the car with for long periods of time.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you just kind of zone out driving as well and just walking around. I think the most important thing, and that's something that as a side, because I'm driving, so I always have something to do.
Yeah.
But if you're getting bored in the car, that's the point where you like just can't strike up whatever conversation, because I'm always up for a conversation, like in a moment like that. But I'm just driving, so I always have something to do. So for me, when I'm silent for a long period of time, it isn't boring.
No,
because I'm still driving, and that's the most important thing. Do you ever feel bored in the car?
I don't really feel bored.
So
there's a lot to see.
Yeah. So then the important thing of this is like, don't feel like you have to force a conversation.
Yeah.
Because that's something a lot of people have, is like when they're like in a long period of time with somebody, there's like a feeling you need to entertain one another. So there's no conversation, so the other one is probably bored.
Yeah.
That's something that
I think that's kind of cool for the viewer to take with you, because this is straight talking from experience here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of planes here too. I don't think you can see him on the
distracted as fuck. We're having a conversation
so
here. No. So
if someone has a short, how do you say that?
Attention span.
Yeah, attention span. It's you right here.
Me? Oh.
Yeah. You have a really short one, but
yeah, true.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
To take away, like, and that's just whenever. That's something I like found out not that long ago, is that sometimes it like you have the feeling that when you're like hanging out with somebody, you have to have a conversation, which is like, it's fine to have the feeling, but you sometimes, and I also had that for a long period of time when I was chilling with somebody and it was just like, oh, we don't have a conversation, fuck. What do I gotta do now to make the situation fun? But then at a certain point I just accepted it and just like vibes along, and then you can just entertain yourself, because you don't always have to have a conversation. That's something that
you surely doing.
That's like, if you're bored, again, if you're actually bored, just say so and then you can do whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're not bored, don't force yourself to have a conversation. Like, you're in a good mood because you're not bored.
Yeah.
You have something to do. Don't feel like there has to be a conversation.
Well, it's been nice because we've been sharing some music here and there too. Like, we've listened to albums that we enjoy, but that I have never heard of, or you have actually
Raccoon?
never heard of.
Raccoon, het is al laat, toch?
Raccoon. And King Gizzard. You've listened to King Gizzard, which is
I've
my
also
favorite
listened
band
to
of all time.
Well, that's one of the good things about driving for a long time. Normally, I don't take time to just listen to a full album.
Yeah.
And now
you do have the time.
Because you have more than enough time. And it's not boring listening to an album, but normally there are other things that are, I don't know, piquing your interest a lot faster because you just grab something else.
Yeah.
When, for example, the podcast, Paula's podcast. Shout out naar Paula's podcast, living in the Netherlands. But you just have the time to listen to a full podcast without thinking like, oh, fuck, I want to do something else now, because you just have the time.
It was really nice to... it was actually sad to have it end, because... we've pretty much put on the podcast whenever we entered Norway, and then suddenly it wasn't there anymore. Like after an hour and a half, and I was like, "Oh, okay, now we have to listen to something else." So
to the radio again.
Recommendation: go listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Good. Is there something that's like the most intriguing about like living in a van? For example, I'm not like the expert here, by the way, because I've only slept in a van for once. But not slept in a van for once, but I've just been on the road for 1 week. So what's the thing that like, do you appreciate the most, kind of?
First of all, I've slept surprisingly well. I think I've slept even better than at home.
Yeah.
Although it is a little cramped at times.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel that, but it doesn't take away from the sleep that I have, so that's pretty good. One thing that is really important is that we keep organized. And it's been a nice experience, actually. Just for me is to keep my own stuff at my own shelf, I guess. Because it will get cluttered, and I will forget stuff next week when I'm going home again. So that's nice. What else? What was the question exactly?
The things you appreciate most about just traveling with a van.
I think the freedom, but it adds to the freedom that you can just stay wherever you want as long as it's not on the grass in Sweden, apparently.
Apparently. Well, I'm really tempted to park it slightly more behind right now.
Yeah.
Because we're right now on asphalt, but 5 meters behind us there's grass. But
yeah, it has a bit of a nicer view. You open the door and you can look at the beautiful forest.
The view. Wow. I don't really know if they see the view that well, but fuck it. So yeah, any tips
for traveling?
For me as well.
For you as well.
Yeah.
Well, tips for traveling in general: take at least a 20-liter water.
Main event.
Water, whatever it's called, canister, not canister.
Canister's fine, just like a tank. I have a 20-liter water tank, which is, you're standing on it right now, actually.
Yeah.
So it's also good for podcasts.
It's been a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Tips, what else? I think we have most that we need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really missing anything.
That's perfect.
I think.
Really?
Yeah, I was missing some clothing, but we took care of that, so we got some straight new drip from the bazaar.
Yeah, you got your ducks, and you got your watermelon thingy. And for me, as a person, as in a travel mate, are the things that are annoying you? Or are the things that are like, whoa, what a great guy Bart is?
I sometimes think that we live on a bit of a different pace.
Yeah, I know that we live on a different pace.
We do. So you're a bit more fast-paced than me.
Yeah.
I really take my sweet-ass time for everything I do. And I am generally kind of calm in the vehicle too. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like you're throwing a rage or anything, but it's I don't know. I just calmly sing along where you scream along, but we just do our own thing and it's fine.
Yeah, is it annoying?
No, it's not annoying at all. No, it adds to the vibe. I just sometimes feel like, it would be nice if I actually knew the lyrics. So I can scream them along too.
Well, you can also Raccoon is really easy.
Yeah.
It is all But I also know that, like, a lot of people tell me that my voice is hideous if I'm singing, which is fine because I'm just
I don't mind
screaming along. Yeah.
I don't mind it at all.
But about the different space, that's actually funny because I texted Paula, I think 2 or 3 days ago, that like traveling with you is super nice because you're super chill. You're just slowly moving and not being, I don't think you're annoyed that fast as well.
No, not at all.
But the one thing I texted Paula is that sometimes he's super slow.
Yeah.
As in, like, at first I thought you were not like taking initiative.
Yeah.
Like you're really waiting for somebody else to say something and then doing. But hold on.
Okay,
I'm not done yet. But I actually found out the last couple of days that you do take a lot of initiative. It's just you take initiative. Like you just sit for a bit after eating. And then at a certain point, you're like, you know what? I'm going to do the dishes now. And then you just walk to the water and do the dishes. So not that you're not taking initiative. You're just taking shit slowly, which is fine. But it's different to my pace. Mm-hmm. And that's not bad, again, because you're different people. But it's just something that's like funny to see the personal differences.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed that we're getting along so well. Because normally I would get fucking annoyed by somebody that's moving so slow. Mm-hmm. But because you're also not, like, you're not on an annoyance level of slow. And slow sounds super dumb, but like
I am kind of slow. I mean,
but it's not an annoying amount of slowness. And you're also, besides that, there's nothing negative about traveling with you. Hi, old ladies on the bike, because you're just doing your own thing without being annoying. Yeah. In the car, you're not annoying at all. And I warned you about the bit that sometimes I'm gonna focus on the road now, and then you also just shut the fuck up, which is like perfect as somebody that's right. So far you're I think a 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 travel companion.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, we don't really talk about this stuff in the car too. We just do our own thing, I guess. But it's more like that. I do want to take initiative, but I don't want to do anything that annoys you. Which
what's something you wanted to do and you were like, nah, Bart's gonna hate me for doing that.
I don't actually know. Whenever I would clean up the vehicle or like the backside or whatever, I would be like, oh, maybe I put something in a different spot that he wants it to be.
And I will scream, Jenny, what the fuck is this? And then you know it.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah. But I'm also used to, because you can be, you're not harsh, but you can come off as quite harsh. But I know that you're not harsh. But then I don't really want to annoy you at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah,
I am annoying him with my accent a bit.
No, that's not annoying. That's funny. I think it's hilarious that you just, like, you have some Scottish friends.
Yeah.
So that way, sometimes when you're just deep in English, and suddenly there are coming out some phrases.
I actually had someone on the phone from, I think he was from Manchester or something, at work, and he thought that I was coming from Scotland because the way I was talking to him.
Yeah, but it sounds, sometimes you just force it in. Yeah. But back to the point, I think that's fine. Like, there's nothing that really annoys me, but the thing then is like, and you know that by now, if I don't, when I'm searching for something, the first thing I always do is just, hey, do you know where the keys are?
Yeah.
That's the first thing, even before looking.
Where the fuck are the keys?
Yeah, something like that.
And it's mostly in his own pocket. And he's the only one that touches the keys, really.
But also, like, if you don't say anything, I will just go looking for them.
Yeah.
But it's just a habit of me just to do the first thing to scream, where the fuck is it?
Yeah.
Do you have some finishing off points? Because we're around like 1 hour and 10 minutes or something, so.
2010.
Yeah, 20/10. Excuse me, fucker.
I don't actually know. It's been quite nice so far. I think from here on out it's going to be a bit more chill than before.
What do you mean more chill? How more chill do you want to get?
It really was, we need to get to, or we don't need to. The goal was kind of to get to Norway and then we'll see it from there. Mm-hmm. But now we're actually there, so we'll have to see it from here where it goes. And I don't know, we'll have to see how it goes this week.
The thing you're looking forward for the most? Oslo or Lillehammer or whatever?
I think I'm just looking forward to having a nice lake where we could just swim all day and then just do our own thing, I guess. And I'm having some Netflix shows that I'm gonna watch still that I've downloaded. I'm gonna watch the series that you've recommended that I don't know the name of right now.
Vinland Saga.
Yeah, that one. And then I'm gonna watch this cult documentary, which is called something like Prey, whatever. It's about this American cult, I think. And I'm gonna watch that, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. It came out in May this year, I think, on Netflix. So that's what I'm watching. Netflix
sponsor us. No, I think that's it for this episode of the Bart vlogging voyage, or however the fuck we're gonna call the podcast. Yeah, I think that's it. We're gonna grab some dinner, as in we're gonna cook our dinner.
Quite hungry.
What do you want? Pasta, rice,
Nice.
Pasta?
Yeah.
We don't have meat, so we're gonna put in beans. Okay. So that's the podcast. Next time you will hear what he thinks about Vinland Saga and whatever we have done in Norway.
Peace.
Peace. Shaka. I'm getting cold as well.
Frisjes.